You have less than a month left. With a 65% chance the Federal Reserve will drop interest rates by at least 50 basis points at the September FOMC meeting, the housing market is about to see a surge of home buyers rushing back in. Are you ready to face the competition and make the best decisions for your home? Welcome to Keeping Your Business on Track, where we will break down the complexities of buying and turn your fears into confidence. Today, we will tackle the top 5 fears home buyers have in 2024. Rising mortgage rates, not qualifying for a mortgage, hidden costs, economic downturns, and home values dropping after purchase. With expert insights and practical tips, we'll show you how to navigate these challenges and secure your dream home. Don't let fear hold you back. Let's get started and prepare you for the opportunities ahead. How you doing? This is Joe Harris from Morgan Financial, and I'm here with Lindsay Clark. How you doing, Lindsay?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
We got a pretty, this is kind of a big topic right now.
This is a huge topic.
For the last year and a half, 2 years, I've heard the same things from home buyers, right? Mm-hmm. We've heard all the things from, the market's going to crash. I really don't want to buy a house right now. Yet the market's gone up probably, 10, 12% since 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So they've missed out.
Mm-hmm. I think it's all the fears that are holding them back from moving forward. So maybe today will help debunk a lot of those things that are fears that they have that maybe shouldn't be holding them back right now.
Right. I'm with you. And, there's a lot of things that held people back that just never came true either, or haven't come true yet. And they keep saying the same things. And, I go back to a long time ago, I was told people usually buy high and they sell low. I've said that before on this show.
Why is that?
I don't. It's human fear in nature. They like to buy in when everyone else is buying, when it's at the top of the market. But right now, I don't think we're at the top of the market. Like I personally, well, we'll get into it, but I just don't. Things haven't crashed. They say, well, prices are going down. They're not. Not in our area. Not in most areas. Some metro areas that are having issues might be going down, but. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, we basically did some research on what the top 5 home buying fears are. And the main one that came up was rising mortgage rates. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I mean, I've lived that for the last couple of years. We had rising mortgage rates. The rates were, 2-3% back in 20 and 21. And in April of 2022, they started to get higher. They started to go up very fast, right? We had all these inflationary fears. And first we heard the term transitory inflation. And then we really realized that, the inflation kept going up. We were at 9-10% inflation. And that's a very conservative estimate. I think if you look at the numbers themselves, they'd be a lot higher.
Yeah.
My grocery bill is not only 9% higher, it's like 30-40% higher.
Mine is too.
It's
so
ridiculous.
Don't worry, you're not alone.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at those raising rates, I mean, we were in the 7s, almost 8s at one point. Now, in the last couple of weeks, what's happened is a lot of the data has come out about inflation coming in less than expected. Unemployment's more than expected. And non-farm payrolls, less than expected. You had corporate earnings, less than expected. So anytime something is less than, more than expected, rates will go up or down accordingly.
I was going to say, you keep saying less than expected, but you would think that means something bad. It actually means something good, right?
Yeah, thanks for clarifying. So like when the unemployment rate came in higher than expected, if unemployment's higher, that means the economy isn't doing quite as well as people say it is. And that's an indicator that maybe these high rates are, really killing demand more so than needed. And so we don't want to land in a recession. So, we want a soft landing, you've heard.
Yes.
So rates have come down quite a bit. The average rates are in the 6s right now. And, I
feel like that's the lowest we've seen in quite some time.
About a year and a half.
Okay.
About a year and a half. Okay. And so they're coming back down. Now, between now and the end of this year in 2024, rates will go down a little bit. They'll pop back up. They'll come down a little bit. They'll pop back up, come down a little bit. But the trend should be downward. I can't guarantee that. I can't promise that. This isn't financial advice. Do your own research. But also, it's a great time to mention, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. We promise there'll be some value in this one. So share with your friends and family. So, I do believe rates are going to come down. This next September Fed meeting in September 17th and 18th, I think. There's the Wednesday around there. They'll talk about what their findings are and if they're going to raise or lower the rates. There's a 65% chance right now of a 50 basis point, that's 0.5% lowering of the federal funds rate.
Wow.
That's a pretty big big hit.
Yeah.
And you'll see, will mortgage rates go down automatically? No, they won't, because they're not directly tied to that rate. But what will happen is that will go out on the news.
Mm-hmm.
That will go out on the news. And all the people out there that's saying, I'm going to wait till the rates get lower, what do you think is going to happen?
They're probably going to rush into the market when the rates get lower.
They are going to rush into the market when they feel like the rates are going to get lower.
Gotcha.
Because people like I said, they like to buy high and sell low, which is the adverse of how you actually make money. Mm-hmm. But that's human nature, and that's why markets exist. Yeah. So when they fear that they're going to miss out on something like this next round of rates lowering, they're going to rush in.
Yeah.
And I can't blame them. I mean, they're waiting for that true signal that, hey, look, the rates are going lower. They're going to want to get involved. But that's a fear people have, is that we're going to have rising rates. Mm-hmm. I just don't see it. We're going to have pockets of little bits of rises, but the long-term trend is going to be down the rest of this year and probably next year too.
That's fantastic news. So that kind of overcomes that first objection, that first fear that everybody has. The next one was not qualifying for a mortgage.
Well, there's people that they don't even make the phone call, it's
fear of rejection.
Their fear that they're going to, they're embarrassed about their financial situation. Maybe they have some credit card debt or student loans or a car payment that they're embarrassed about. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, that there's a lot of programs out there to help home buyers in various stages of their life. Yeah. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, you're buying an investment property, or a second home. There's lots of different loan programs out there. Mm-hmm. But you look at the ones we do, it covers about 90% of the, maybe 85% of the people out there that can qualify for a mortgage.
Yeah.
And, I talk to people all the time. Oh, I have terrible credit. You pull their credit, it's like 750. They're like, no, you have outstanding credit.
What's your definition of terrible?
Right.
Yeah.
So people have a very self-defeatist attitude mm-hmm. on qualifying for a mortgage, but for the most part, it doesn't cost you anything to qualify. And as long as you're working with a local professional who understands the business, if you don't qualify, mm-hmm. they can tell you how to get qualified. And if you do qualify, they can tell you what you qualify for. And if you like what they tell them, you move forward. And if you don't like the payment or you don't like the rates, you stop there. Mm-hmm. It's your option. There's no obligation. So, I tell everyone watching, like if you're thinking about buying a home, now's the time to get qualified ahead of time, because once the rates come down, there's going to be a bevy of people coming back into the marketplace and wanting to buy a house.
Yeah. I've seen numerous times our loan officers too having conversations with clients where they thought something was going to hold them back, and it was a pretty simple fix that could be taken care of in a month or 2 months. So I think having those conversations soon, fast, often, that way you can get those things corrected.
Yeah, and so you just have to work with a professional. There's a link down below if you want to talk to one of our people. Mm-hmm. But ask around, ask your friends, ask your family, who do you use for your mortgage, and find someone that is helpful. That isn't just going to take your order and say, whatever you want, they're going to give you, because if they don't give you options, you're not going to know those options exist.
Right.
And a good mortgage person can help structure a lot more than just your loan.
Mm-hmm.
So good. What else we got?
Our third fear, which is honestly my favorite because I've heard it numerous times, was home values dropping after a purchase.
Right. Yeah. If the list price was $300,000 mm-hmm. and you paid $350,000, your home isn't worth $350,000.
Yeah.
Okay. It might be, depending on the situation, but if you were overpaying for a home, then your value never went up to that whatever you paid for it. It's not necessarily worth what you paid for it. Mm-hmm. But if you're buying a house at proximate, values of the current time frame, the home prices haven't gone down for the most part in the last year or two.
Yeah.
They're still rising in most areas, especially if you're buying in like Florida or parts of Texas, North Carolina, Tennessee, depending on where you're buying. If you're buying in a dying city that's, it's ridden with crime and people are moving out, you're probably gonna get a deal.
Right.
And I'm not here to steer or redline anyone. Absolutely. You buy wherever you want to buy. There's great areas everywhere. But some areas are going to see a decline in value. Some areas are going to continue to rise.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
That segues into the next one too, which is hitting cost and maintenance expenses. So expected costs associated with home ownership are major concerns for people.
Well, look, I understand it. My AC goes out. That's a big expense. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so vital, if you're looking to buy a house, to make sure you do a very good home inspection. Find a great home inspector to see what is the useful life left on my roof? What is the useful life left on my major appliances, ACs, hot water heaters, what else? Big refrigerators, things mm-hmm. like that. And yeah, if the house has an AC that's 10 years old, 14 years old, probably going to need to replace it. You probably need a budget for it. But one thing that people always leave out when they're talking about buying a home is that payment is not your rent. That payment goes, it's like forced savings. It's just going into the equity of your home every month.
So true.
And even a lot of rentals, you're going to have to pay, you probably don't have to pay to replace your AC, but it's your AC when you do replace it when you own the home.
Right.
It's your house you're putting money into, and it helps, hold the value or make the value rise depending on if you add improvements and things like that. So yes, there are going to be possible unexpected costs.
Yeah.
But you should, if you're buying it, get a really good inspection. They won't be that unexpected. And then you get to make the decision. I know this house has a 10-year-old AC unit or it needs a new roof. Do I want to move forward with that purchase?
Right.
And you don't have to say yes.
Short-term sticker shock, but for long-term gain and equity in your house.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Lastly was the economic downturn impacting home values.
Economic downturn. So if there is a recession, if we have what they're calling a hard landing, which the Bank of America CEO, Brian Moynihan, I maybe got his name wrong, but he doesn't see a recession coming. That was just out in the news last week. And they've changed their outlook, on recession. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. That's one individual. There's a lot of people saying, our economy's strong and all these things. I don't know. We have, a lot of people are on the sidelines because of an election that's coming up.
Yep.
Doesn't matter which side you're on. 50% of the people are going to be disappointed afterwards, but then that usually fades. Everyone right now thinks they're all going to die regardless of who wins, right?
Right.
One person says, we're going to all die if this person wins, and some people say, we're going to die if that person wins. And they might believe it, and I don't, whatever. I'm not here to judge their politics. But in any event, people, creates a mindset. Thank you. I was about to say a psychosis. Might be a psychosis.
One and the same.
Right. Okay. Good.
Sometimes.
But you're looking at a recession. If a recession happens, if you look at history, other than 2008 recession, home prices tend to go up during recessions. Why? Because rates drop. And if it becomes cheap, there's always going to be people that can buy houses, and there's always going to be people that can't. So in recessionary times, the Fed, what do? They lower the rates. And if they lower the rates to attract people back to get out of the recession, that means people are going to have low rates to buy again. I don't think we're going to see a deep recession unless crazy stuff happens, and who knows. But everything else being equal, I don't think we're going to see a huge recession. And even if we do, rates will further push down and drive home prices up. That's a protectionary measure of our economy, the interest rates.
Awesome.
So don't see that happening.
Hopefully all of this feedback helps calm people's fears. And we went over all the top 5. So if there's any other ones that people can think of, comment, subscribe, let us know. We'd love to answer those too.
Absolutely. And we're going to put a link down to our app. We have a mortgage app. Lots of great calculators on there. So if you want to calculate your payment, talk to us if you want to get some rates, if you want to get pre-approved. But if you want to just calculate your payment, download the app. There's some really great tools on there. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Lindsay. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to you soon.